Hey everybody, welcome to Bestie Book Reviews. I'm here with my bestie Mandy.
And I'm here with my bestie Jessica.
I'm home! Yay!
You found your bookshelf.
I found my bookshelf and a crud ton of new books that arrived for my birthday, which that's a whole nother video. But it's time for us to do our 1 minute book recs. So this is where we go over all the books that we've read in the past week with 1 minute synopsises for each book. It's always a mouthful. Okay, so before we get started with that, Mandy.
Okay, make sure you hit that subscribe button because you want to win these books. That's part of our Road to 1K giveaway, so make sure to hit that subscribe button. Like our videos, comment below how your reading week is going. What have you been reading lately? Let us know. And also you can follow us on Instagram for an extra entry into our Road to 1K giveaway.
Yay! Okay, so how was your reading week?
I read 6 books and had 2 5-star reads.
We must be twinsies this week. I read 6 books. I just got home from California night before last, so things were still going on. Like I didn't get as much reading in as I typically like to, but I read 6 books, and I have like what I think is an all-time favorite again in these. I'm just so excited to talk about this book. So excited to talk about this book.
Well, let's get started.
Let's get started.
Okay, ready?
Ready? Okay, so because I was still in California dealing with all the stuff I was dealing with, I did 2 or 3 rereads this week. Sorry, guys. But this one is Planet Barbarians. Again, I know nobody is shocked, but here's the deal. I forgot about this book. I don't know if I only read part of it. I didn't remember half this book. So this is number 14 in Planet Barbarians. It's Barbarian Rescue. This is Warwick and Summer. Summer's a talkative little creature, and Warwick is extremely quiet and he's just very introverted, and they make quite the pair. In this book, there is they come to the ice planet, and they're slavers, and they try to kidnap everybody, and it's up to Warwick and Summer to save everyone. So yeah, I was surprised. I thought I'd read them all, and I know I had read them all, but this one I just didn't remember at all. So it was the first time rereading it, so it was like reading it all over again. So yay!
You still had time left.
Do you want me to go on? I mean,
shutting the timer off, and then it took a while to switch back over.
Okay, no worries.
All right.
Okay, what you got?
Okay, my first book is Unbreakable by Emma Scott. This is about Alex and Corey. Alex is a lawyer who's extremely career-driven. She's had a fairly privileged, wealthy type life. She has a fiance who is also a highly driven attorney, and basically their whole worlds just revolve around their work, and they've decided they're not going to have kids because they don't think that would be fair to the children, because they just care about their careers. Well, Alex goes to the bank, and while she's in the bank, she notices this very attractive guy in line in front of her, and all of a sudden these people come in and start screaming, and it's a bank heist, and they take everybody in the bank hostage while they start making their demands. And so Alex is taken to an office with a few other people, and Corey, who's the good-looking guy that she was striking up a conversation with in the bank prior to this happening. And now my time is up. And during this heist, they're there for 3 days, and her and Corey form a very strong trauma bond, probably, but they share things and spill things, and it really makes Alex start to question her life. And Corey is kind of like a blue-collar, working-class guy who's just really trying to do right by his young daughter and his dad. And basically, they're from very different worlds, but they are bonded in the trauma of going through this. I loved this book so much. 5 stars. I'm sure you'll hear about this in February wrap up, even though this is like our first book review of the month, because this book was that good.
Yep.
Okay.
I have one like that, but we're not going to talk about it yet. Okay. So I had to do a reread of this book because when I was looking for audio, the hospital gave my daughter a bunch of those what are they, diamond art kits, and so I was doing one with her, and I was like, I have to listen to something, and then I saw that Teddy Hamilton narrated Hitched. How come nobody told me this? Like, seriously. So I did a reread of Hitched by Lauren Beale. So this is about Lex and Selena, and Lex is an escaped con. He escaped and he's on the side of the road. Selena is running from something, and she picks him up and then, because he's hitchhiking, and then realizes she probably shouldn't have done that because he's crazy and he's dangerous. And they end up going on a road trip to somewhere where he can be safe. Things ensue, things happen. I loved it the first time. I loved it even more that Teddy Hamilton narrated it. He was the best Lex ever. And yeah, I'm sorry. That man could read a phone book to me and I'm good. So I've said it over and over again. He could read the back of a medicine bottle and I'd be like, yeah.
Okay.
I need that man. His voice. I need his voice in my books. Okay.
You need a t-shirt that says Teddy's #1 fan.
No, that might freak Teddy out, and I don't want to freak Teddy out. We're not those kind of people.
Well, I'm a little freaked out.
Just talk about your next book.
While you start your plan.
Yeah.
Suddenly Teddy's going to be playing a very different role in the book Hitched.
No. I'm so sorry. Teddy is a really great guy and he's really, really nice. And I don't want to scare him. Don't scare him.
He's not as big as you would think he would be based on his voice. So I think you might be able to take him.
Totally. I'm tied up in the back there. I just want him to read to me. That's all I want, Mandy. I don't want anything else. I just want him to read to me. All the time.
I think you have a romance book in the making.
Will you kidnap the narrator? No. That's bad. It's so bad. Don't do that at home. Okay, let's talk about your book before I dig a bigger hole.
Okay. I would say if Lauren Beale is watching, she might just have gotten a book idea, but I don't know if this would be like spicy and dark enough for her. Because literally, you just want the man to read to you.
Just want him to read to me.
All right.
Okay.
Before things get too out of control here at Bestie Book Reviews, let's talk about Knox. So Knox is by Savannah Ryland, and this is #1 in the Dead Souls MC series. This is Monroe and Knox. So Monroe is an attorney, and she has some pretty high ground. And when she moves to this new town and finds out that she is going to be but having clients that come from the MC group, she's not really for that. She's kind of against it because she doesn't want to be defending people who are guilty of things. Knox is in an MC club, and he gets set up when their club meets with another club. And so he gets accused of murder and put in jail while he's awaiting all of that stuff. So Monroe has to come and talk to him and vice versa. And so this goes on for a hot minute, like a really short hot minute, before there is some attraction there. And there's a lot of other pieces going on. This was a pretty quick MC read, but it really, I think, is setting up the rest of the series. So I rated it a 4. I'm going to continue on with this series. It does have that nitty gritty MC feel that you want. It was just Monroe gave up her ground a little too fast for me. I really want a book where there's this I'm so attracted to you, I want this, but I can't because I'm an attorney, or even some regret after the first time, and it just went too insta lovey. But I felt like that it was probably trying to set the rest of the series up in this, so I really enjoyed it and I plan to continue on.
Okay.
But if anybody knows of a really angsty lawyer criminal romance, let us know, because
that we haven't read.
Yeah. Well, I've read a few that just haven't. I haven't read one that really checks that angsty box yet. So
no,
let us know.
Okay.
In the comments below. Help us out. Help a girl out.
Help a girl out.
Yes.
Let's talk for a second before you click over, because I can't fit it all into a minute. I'm sorry. Okay. So the next book I'm going to talk about is the book that I got to beta read for Pam Godwin. So just to give you guys a little bit of stuff. So the cover reveal is on the 8th of February. I've seen it. It is gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. The book itself will be out on March 16th, I believe. I looked it up last night because I didn't know what I could tell you guys and what I couldn't, being a beta reader. I mean, I kind of do, I know, but I wanted to see if I could, if it was on Amazon. It is on Amazon, so I'm not giving away anything. It will be out on March 16th. It's a trilogy, and it is long. Like, the first book is over 700 pages. So I've said that before. And if Pam sees this, thank you. But you guys know I'm crazy about Alaska. Mandy will tell you, Alaska, I lived in Alaska, and Alaska's its own world. And I'm so grateful I got to read this because I got to look at the Alaska stuff and make sure it was legit. And that's like a big thing for me. So, and I'm glad Pam realizes that, you know?
If you've been around on our channel for a while, you have seen more than one video where Jessica has ranted about
Yep.
Alaska done wrong. She will take a good book down if Alaska is not done right.
I will, because it's, I don't know, it's just most people don't understand unless they've been there or lived there. It's its own world, and you got to do it right. So, okay, so let's talk about this book. I'm going to tell you what I can without giving too much away. So this is going to go down. I mean, granted, there's 2 more books in the series or the trilogy. Right now, I'm already telling you, it's probably going to go down as an all-time favorite. So this is called The Hills of Shivers and Shadows. And like I said, it's by Pam Godwin. So this is about Frankie, and Frankie is living in Sitka with her wealthy husband. And one night, you know, there's some things that happen between them. She's in a bad place. She's very upset with her husband. One night, some guy comes in, kidnaps her, takes her to the Arctic Circle up by where the pipeline is, and brings her home to his 3 boys. And she is not the only one who's been there. This is not the first time it's happened, and there is this crazy mystery. There's some survival stuff that goes on. So it is captive. She's calling it poly. So it is a poly romance. We'll see what happens, but it ends on a massive cliffhanger, and the books will come out pretty quickly. So I don't think it's something where you have to wait, but guys, you have to run out and get this. It is like all the stars. It is, I think it's some of Pam's best work yet. I called you and was like, oh my God, love this book so much. And Alaska is accurate. Pam did such good research. So I even messaged her and I was like, have you been to Alaska? Because like the animals and stuff that she was talking about, I mean, we're not talking about like just moose. I mean, like
There are no moose. Stop it.
The animal, like just things like that. She really did her research well. So,
okay.
Yeah. Guys, go get it. Go pre-order it. Go get it. It is dark too, obviously. Duh. But yeah. And like you said before, Pam took all my favorite tropes and wrote me a book. And she was probably like, so what does Jessica want? And that's what she did. So on that note, what do you got next?
Okay, my next book is called Ice by Chelsea Cameron and Jessie Lane. And this starts off the Regulators MC series. So it's the first book in that one. And this is about Morgan and Ice, whose real name is Brett, but throughout the book, he's basically referred to as his MC name, which is Ice. So Morgan's sister comes to live with her because their parents are just really awful people and are very much more concerned about what country club type friends are going to think of them than actually like caring and loving for their daughters. And so Morgan lets Madison come live with her because her parents basically kick her out and won't even refer to her anymore as their daughter and take all of her pictures down. Like, this is pretty extreme. She is still in high school, and her best friend is Brooke, who is Ice's daughter. Ice's wife and Brooke's mom passed away when she was little, so it's just been kind of the 2 of them. Ice is definitely like your MC biker who is like, you know, get down on your knees and, you know, and that's all women are good for, like that type of thing. Oh, sorry. My timer already went off. How did that happen? Okay, so their MC is investigating a sex trafficking ring, which I think is basically setting up the whole series. And Madison and Morgan and Ice, when they meet each other, they're like oil and water. Like, he's really rude to her and snippy, And she's like, wow, you're kind of an ass type thing. And somehow they end up having some sort of chemistry. And Madison ends up going missing. And he like just basically tells her, we're going to go try and find her, because the police won't do anything because she's 18, even though she's still in high school. They're like, oh, we can't do anything. And her parents won't report her missing or anything. So I rated it a 4. Ice was a little much for me at times, but I think the author was really trying to set up that nitty gritty MC world to propel the rest of the storyline. So I am interested in reading the rest of the series, or at least continuing on for now in the series. So solid 4, great start to an MC book series.
Okay. All right, so the next book I read was an arc, and I really feel bad for this book because it's coming on the heels, not that there's anything wrong with the book, it's coming on the heels of the Pam Godwin book that I just read, and I felt like that book would just stuck with me so much that anything that came after it was not going to get a very good, it's not going to get my attention. It just wasn't. So I feel really bad for this one, but it is still good. I'm going to tell you about it. It's still good. Okay, so that is Sovereign by Jane Henry. So this, like I said, is an arc. The book actually comes out, I believe, on the 8th. That's when I have to have all my review stuff in. So I think it's the 8th. But you can look it up. It's on Amazon. It's great. So this is about Aria and Mikhail. So Aria is a hacker, and she has hacked into a government database and seen something that she shouldn't have, like she got into it and she shouldn't have, and so now these people are coming after her. Mikhail is a part of the Bratva. His father's just died. He's taking over as the Pecan, and he is dealing with a rival family, a rival Pecan. And so in order to solidify everything, he has to get married, and he has like a timeline where he has to get married, and at this point he's got like 3 days. All of his fiancés, he's had like 3, I think. They were all murdered before this starts. So none of his fiancés live for very long at all. And that is where Aria comes in. Her friend says, you know what, you should go to these guys because they run the town and nobody can hurt them. So she goes to him and says, look, I'm a great hacker. I'll work for you. And he's like, no, but you can marry me. And so this is their story. I gave it 3.5 stars. That was probably me being affected by the book I read before. It's probably closer to a 4. So definitely go check it out. Go read it. It was good. I just, again, was coming off of a really epic story that just was resonating with me at the time. So still check it out. It was cute. It was good. It was a great Mafia read. And if you don't love Mafia, I think you'd love it as much. I mean, I was just coming off of something that was really epic. Okay.
So this is my next book.
Are we just going to stare at it?
Of course. This is what we always do when tag comes up. I don't know what it is about. Hopefully my husband's not walking by the door.
It's this model. You love this model. It's the jawline.
Is it? I think you're right. It's just very masculine. I think that's what it is.
No, I think he just knows how to apply makeup. It's good shadowing is all it is.
He's got, like, look though. That's a beard.
He's got the thing that this thing going for. Did you see what I was doing?
No, stop distracting me.
Okay, but it's the eyes too. Those blue eyes.
If I ever write a book,
he's gonna be your model.
Yes.
Okay. How about you tell us about the book though? The stuff inside the pages.
Okay.
Or inside the cover, yeah.
Honestly, this is just a really good coffee table book. That's nightstand book, desk book.
Oh, that's funny.
Okay. So, my next book is called Tag by S. Nelson. So, this sets up the MC, the Knight's Corruption MC Laredo spinoff. And so Tag, we meet him. So it's a spinoff, but this is one where Tag, you meet him in the Knight's Corruption MC, which is like a really good MC. I read all of them, loved it. So I was excited to start this one. Tag, we see him in the other one. So I really feel like it's important to have read the other ones to really fully grasp what's happening with Tag. So Tag already has a fiance to start the story off, so it's a little bit different. It's really setting up the new spinoff. So he and his fiance Morgan go to Texas because she's going to be setting up an art gallery there, and so it's just a temporary, like 3-month move. And when they get there, he's going to be part of the club branch there in Texas. But very quickly he realizes some shady things are going on. There's some shady people at the gallery, and he is very protective of Morgan and wants to make sure everything's on the up and up. And so then that's kind of where this goes, and it's really just setting up the storyline for the next books. So at first I struggled a little bit to get into it because I was expecting more like the other books in the previous series, and then after I started reading, I'm like, okay, I get where we're going with this, and I kind of had to let my preconceived notions of what would be happening go to really enjoy this book. So it was it was a solid 4-star read for me, and I'm excited to continue on in the spinoff series.
Okay. I read an MC book next, and I've read a couple by this author that were MC that I did not like. Serena Ackroyd's MC. I do not like it at all.
So why do you keep reading it?
Because this actually, because I love her Filthy series, which is her the 5 Points Mafia series. This combines the 5 Point Mafia with her MC, and it was just different, and I really liked this. It's 0.5 in the 5 Points Mafia, but you don't have to read the other ones to read this. So I loved it. So let's talk about it. So this is Filthy Sinner by Serena Ackroyd. So like I said, this is 0.5. So this actually takes place between Filthy, the first Filthy book and the second one. So because Aoife and Finn are already together in this book, but the other ones haven't happened yet. So this is about Mary Catherine. She is a cousin to those guys in the 5 Points Mafia. Her uncle is the dad who runs the whole thing. And her father is in the mafia. He's a brother to that guy. So she's been raised by a really crummy mother. And at one point, her father takes her from her mother and says, "You're going to come live with me." They're not together. And when she is just fresh out of college, her dad comes to her and says, "You're getting married. We've made the arrangements." This guy, he's like 35 years older than her, some crazy age. And he's known as the one whose wives always die because his wives die. He's gone through several of them, and they've all like had mysterious deaths. She found out she has a half brother who is a part of the MC. And so she, at one point, he leaves her like a burner cell. And so she actually finds out where he is. She goes to him. When she gets to the compound, that is where she meets Digger. And Digger is on guard duty. He knows who she is. He's seen her before. And when she tells him her dad's forcing her to get married, he's like, "Let's go to Vegas. I'll marry you instead." Problem solved. It's way better than that. It was a solid 4 stars. I really, really, really enjoyed this book a lot. And, it was great. I really, really liked it. So go read it.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, Jessica.
Okay.
I did it.
What?
I went to the 9-minute
I'm so excited.
spinoff, and I read The Iron Tiara, or Tiara by Beth Flynn. So this is, it's literally the 9-minute spinoff series is what it's called. So to start, before I switch over and tell you what this book is about, I will give you my thoughts on if you need to read the 9-minute trilogy. So you can not read the 9-minute trilogy. I don't know why you wouldn't want to, but you could do that, and you could read this book, and I feel like you would still really enjoy it. But to really fully get out of this book what you can, I highly recommend reading the 9-minute trilogy first. Because if you like this book, you're probably going to want to continue on, and you definitely are going to want to know more about the characters, because at the end of 9 minutes, it really sets up, my thoughts anyways, what Tethered Souls is going to be about. And I almost skipped this book because I wanted to read Tethered Souls.
That's what I was thinking about doing. So I wanted to hear what your thoughts were on this.
So badly. But I decided to go ahead and read The Iron Tiara, and I loved it so much. Solid 5-star read. So let me tell you about it.
Okay.
Let me switch myself over and start my timer because I'll definitely need it for this one. So this is Anthony Bear and Christie's story, which we see glimpses of them in the 9-minute trilogy, and they have some important roles. So this is their story of how they came to be together. So Anthony Bear, when he was younger, he runs away from the Indian reservation that he lives on and comes to Florida and basically starts his life of crime. And he runs a landscaping business that's legit. And then he has like his side businesses and the MC club that are not legit at all. And Van is uh, a very wealthy man based on who he married and what his family kind of inherited in these car dealerships down there in Florida. And his stepdaughter is the heiress to everything, but he has a good chunk of it as well. And he gets himself into some serious trouble with Anthony, and he doesn't pay up his debts. And so Anthony kidnaps Christy, who is an adult at this time. I think she's like 19, 20. She's still pretty young, but she's an adult. She might actually be 22 or something. She's still very young, sorry, but she's not like in high school. And he kidnaps her to force Van's hand. And he ends up finding out that Christy hates Van just about as much as he does. And that's really where the story kind of goes from, is he's got her, and yeah, it was so good. So good. I
You had me
cannot wait
at
to read the next book.
Yeah, you had me at he kidnaps her.
Yes.
Done. You know, guys know how I feel. Just club them over the head. Take them.
Yes.
Yeah.
But this does not feel like we've read quite a bit of Captor Captive.
Yes.
I mean, you more than me, and then I read all the ones that you say are oh so good. This doesn't feel like anything I've read before. And I was curious because 9 minutes, like that's how the book starts, is she gets kidnapped. And so I was really curious to see if it was going to feel like the same idea, just rewritten. Feels like I mean, it is a completely different story. And I never once was like, oh, this feels repetitive.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's so incredibly good.
So what about spice in this one? Because in 9 minutes, the spice in the first one wasn't really there. I mean, as it progressed, we got a little bit, but is there spice in this one?
There's a little bit, but not a ton. But I loved it.
Yeah.
It definitely, I mean, there's MC stuff going on with like club things. So it's not, and there's like
club things.
I mean, it's definitely a nitty-gritty MC book.
Good. I mean, I don't always need it. I'm just curious if that was there. So okay, so you ready for my last book of the week?
Yes.
Okay.
But I have a fun fact.
What?
Beth Flynn is a Christian, and she weaves a little bit of that into these very dark stories. Yeah, I found that interesting.
Yeah.
There was a line in this book that really, I was like, oh, so profound. And then I was reading a little bit about her. And she's also a breast cancer survivor.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, obviously I'm going to read those books. They're top my TBR, so. They just don't have audio. 9 minutes had audio. But I mean, not that stops me from ever reading a book, but still. Okay, ready for my last one?
Yes.
Okay. So I read Counts of 8. This is by Bryn Ford. If you guys remember, Bryn Ford is the one who wrote the Ember Glen series, which was my top for January. This is a trilogy as well, and this is about Anya and Ezra. So this is in her Four Families trilogy, and it is Mafia, but it's not Mafia like we normally see. So Arya is a ballerina, and she was kidnapped 3 years ago by this Russian mafia guy, and he has kept her captive as his slave. So definitely check triggers. She is his slave. She is to dance for him. He also violates her, He does all the sexual things to her, and even shares her every once in a while. Like, she is not living a good life. And they have kidnapped several dance partners for her because she has to put on, the four families have a meeting once a year and they have to do an entertainment thing. And if these guys don't get trained well, or if they don't do right, or if they all end up dead. They all end up dead because they're just not the best, or things happen. So Ezra has been kidnapped as another slave and being held in the house, and he is to be her partner. And he is a contemporary dancer, not a ballerina, and it changes things up, but their life is on the line. Everything hinges on it. This is the first book of the three. So right now we're sitting at a solid 4 stars, but this is the first one where I'm like, the Mafia is like the bad guy here. And you don't want the Mafia guy to win. So, I'm jumping into the next 2 books here. So you can get these on Kindle Unlimited as a bind up of the 3, but there is audio, but those have to be purchased separately. So,
All right.
Okay.
Okay. My last book is called How the Heart Breaks by Stacey Marie Brown. This is about Emery and Mason. Emery, we start the book off in tears. Emery's husband passes away, who she is deeply, madly in love with. And then we get to 3 years later where she has not been able to move on. And she decides that the only way she's going to be able to do this is to move away. So she decides to move away to a town about 4 hours away and start over. Her niece, who is a high schooler, has been just having a lot of problems. Her mom and dad's marriage is falling apart. Her dad treats the family pretty roughly. So Addison goes to live with Morgan and go to school and kind of also have a fresh start. And this is where Mason comes in. Mason is 19. He's still in high school. And we find out why much later, why he is still in high school, but it's just how it works out. And Addison, develops a huge crush on him. And he happens to be a neighbor as well. And he comes by one time with Addison to help around the house, like fix the dishwasher or something. And that's when he meets Emery. And Emery's 30, so she's definitely older than him, but not like, super older. And this is when they meet, and there's definitely some attraction there. So we have some taboo age gap romance going on. Solid 4 stars. I think other people might read it and be like, this was 5 stars, but it's hard for me to rate taboo age gap. Like, I really have to feel that taboo angst pull of like, no.
I get it. I'm right there
Yeah.
with you.
So solid 4 stars. I highly recommend it.
Yep. All right, guys. There you go. So there are the 12 books that we read this past week. So, go read them. Go put them on your TBR. You got some homework there.
Okay, make sure to check back on Mondays, Thursdays, and Saturdays for new videos from us. And make sure you hit that like button and subscribe and leave us some comments. How was your reading week? What have you read lately? Tell us all the reading things.
Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you in the next video.